Like if I were to ask you what's Bitcoin or what's cryptocurrency, 9 out of 10 people wouldn't, even who are involved in it, would not be able to explain it to me what it is. So your first investment should be your smallest investment. Look, decisions when it comes to investments should not be made lightly.
Jordan Belfort, overrated or underrated?
Scum of the earth. And I believe if he didn't do what he did, we'd all be on breadlines right now.
Now, I just wanted to finish with a couple of words, and you
Yes.
just tell me if you think it's overrated or underrated.
Okay.
So, first of all, the stop loss.
Well, it's underrated that most people don't use it. It's the most important thing you can ever use.
Okay. Cryptocurrencies.
Cryptocurrency is an interesting thing. I resisted it for the longest time. It seems like it's here to stay. I think everyone needs to do their own homework about it. I'm not so clear about, Bitcoin per se is obviously going to be a form of holding value for the future just because people have hopped on board it. When it comes to all these other altcoins and whatnot, they may be fun to get involved in. Maybe you'll make a couple of shekels here or there. But at the end of the day, I need to be able to understand something before I'm going to invest in it. And I have not, up until recently, kind of understood it. Like if I were to ask you what's Bitcoin or what's cryptocurrency, 9 out of 10 people wouldn't, even who are involved in it, would not be able to explain it to me what it is. There's that great episode of Saturday Night Live with Elon Musk where they asked him what's Dogecoin, and he couldn't answer the question. He said it's a joke, it's a scam, whatever.
My question is, what is Dogecoin?
I'm glad you asked. It's a good question. Well, it's the future of currency. It's an unstoppable financial vehicle that's going to take over the world.
I get that, but what is it, man?
I keep telling you, it's a cryptocurrency you can trade for conventional money.
Oh, so it's a hustle.
Yeah, it's a hustle.
So anyway, it's fascinating is the best I'll say.
Okay. Now, what about DCA? So dollar cost averaging, but on long-term investments.
Absolutely. Look, at the end of the day, if you are investing the long term using fundamental analysis, at the end of the day, dollar cost averaging will keep. So your first investment should be your smallest investment. Look, decisions when it comes to investments should not be made. You should decide how much you want. If you like a company, their people, the process, the product, and you want to invest in the company, you should decide how much you want to invest total. And then your first entry is your smallest. If it goes up after that, that's a beautiful thing. If it doesn't, and it comes in a little bit, then it's the only time we will suggest that you average price, and that's what dollar cost averaging is. So yes, it's a great thing.
Okay. Leverage, underrated or overrated?
Leverage should only be used as an advanced trading technique. Anybody, if I say, look what happened during the financial crisis. People who could not afford a house or could not afford credit suddenly got a house and got credit, right? If you say to me, I'll give you $200,000, you don't have to pay it back for 20 years. Well, I'll love that idea, but it's very dangerous. It's very irresponsible. From a trading perspective, it's really for only those advanced traders who know what they're doing and are willing to understand that they can lose more than they bet. They can get in trouble on the risk side of that. So I suggest you don't do it.
Okay. What about ETFs? Underrated or overrated?
I don't know if they're overrated or underrated, but I think they're a great thing. So think about if I like a sector, if I like the sneaker business, but I don't want to really put all my eggs in one basket, like Nike. If I buy Nike because I like the sneaker sector, right, or the high-end sneaker business, and then LeBron James goes out and does something silly, and the stock goes down because one person did something, well, that's unfortunate. But if I like the sneaker sector and I buy an ETF that's got, Under Armour and Nike and Sony and all these other brands in the industry, well, then I can get exposure to that industry, so I think it's a great thing.
Okay. Now, on the theme of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. Overrated or underrated?
Scum of the earth. So, look, at the end of the day, to be perfectly honest, look, I think there have been a lot of bad people in the industry. Very few of them have actually come to this place, right? Most people here have been really the salt of the earth. A lot of the people upstairs, going back to Ivan Boesky and going back to Jordan, have been, real scumbags. But at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in giving everyone a second chance. My understanding with Jordan was that not only did he steal money, and he was a bit of a pump and dump Ponzi schemer, but he never paid most of the people back who he stole from, right? He was supposed to, he took 300 something million, he's only paid back 30 or 50 million, so there's still $250 million of people who didn't deserve to be stolen from or robbed, and who he's making $500,000 giving stupid speeches about how to sell a pen, and he hasn't paid those people back. The minute he pays everybody back, I will give him a second chance. But at the end of the day, I think anybody who's doing what he does and not paying people back and has this grandiosity about him, look, I'm a grandiose guy too. I've got a nice ego. I think it's healthy. I try to do the right thing. And I've done some things in my life I wasn't proud of, but I made amends and got forgiveness for it, right? And that's the most important thing. We're not always on a trajectory of always doing the right thing. You're given a second chance. You got to pony up and take care of the people you fucked over. He has not by any means, as far as I know, done that. So until he does that, I have nothing to say to Jordan Belfort.
Okay. Stock tips in general, overrated or underrated?
Oh, overrated, absolutely. There's no point in, look, at the end of the day, if you are hungry, I can give you a fish. If I teach you how to fish, you'll never be hungry a day in your life. If I give you a stock tip, there's a lot of these companies out here on Wall Street that are signal services. They tell you when to buy it, tell you when to sell it, but at the end of the day, you're standing there naked. You know, most of the time, those guys are scammers, right? At the end of the day, do your homework. Find the companies where you like the people, the process, and the product, right? Don't listen to anybody. At the end of the day, if you do your homework and you get the playbook and you learn from good people and get somebody to mentor you and coach you, that's what we do at Wall Street Global Trading Academy, WSGTA.com. We coach and mentor all our students every Wednesday. So yeah, forget stock tips. That's a waste of time. That's lazy.
And the two last, Jerome Powell, underrated or overrated?
You know what? I like Jerome Powell. I think, you know, I'm a firm believer, and I know it gets very political, but I'm a firm believer that if he didn't do, so think about it. The crash of 2007, 2008, we threw $800 billion at the market. Over 18 months, it took 9 years for the market to get back to even. During COVID, the largest crisis in history, literally since 1929, we threw $3 trillion into the market over 3 months. We were back to even by August 19th. That's 5 months, 4 months later. And then we were up 20% in 2020, 28% in 2021. Spectacular show. Then, as a result of COVID, we got inflation run rampant. He used the tools of the Federal Reserve. We got inflation down from 8% to 3%. So I think he's a righteous dude. I think he's a good federal chairman. The whole Federal Reserve story is you got a bunch of guys dissenting over here. That's what we're going through at the moment, where Jay Powell says one thing, the federal governors say something else. We're speaking out of two sides of our mouths. You've got uncertainty into the market, and that's one thing. But I'm a fan. I believe if he didn't do what he did, we'd all be on breadlines right now, because if we did not throw the money into the market, and I think everybody who says we're printing money and all that's just a bunch of horseshit. If we didn't print the money we did during COVID to bail the world and us out of the most major jam in history, we would literally all be out there on breadlines begging for pennies. So I'm a big Jay Powell fan.
No, completely agree.
And what was the other one?
NASDAQ.
Oh. Well, you know
as part of the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay, well, they are not part of the New York Stock Exchange.
No, but you are.
They are their competitor, our competitor. I don't have really anything bad to say about NASDAQ. There are fellow listers. I think we do a better job. We have market makers which do a better job. We existed in a different world because, you know, to list over there, you have to have different valuation than here, right? Here, the rules were stricter. You needed 250 million valuation. There, you could do it for 50 or 100. So they gave opportunity. So in that way, they were good. The fact that they never made it's an electronic marketplace. So there's no way they're going to have market makers, right? Unfortunately, now I think it's a little bit of a cowboy and Indian show. A lot of companies go there to die. You know, companies that may not be really prepared to go public. They go public at 3, it goes up to 6, and then it's trading at 30 cents. But nothing bad to say about NASDAQ. They're good people over there. I know a lot of them. It's a good exchange. We are the best in the world. We do it like nobody else. We've got IPOs down. We've got listings down. We've got market makers down. We've got integrity down. There's nobody like us. So I just don't like to talk bad about anybody.
Understood. Hey, it was awesome.
Pleasure, man. Yes.
Really. Thank you.
My pleasure. That was good.
Thank you so much.
You got a lot of fucking information out there. And now it's time to go to work.